Have you ever wondered why some things in life are so difficult to change? Why this thought of stepping into the unknown can often paralyze us? Well, beyond just the natural fears that we're all born with of heights and loud noises, there is another, one that often goes unnoticed, one that holds us back. And that fear is the fear of change. Change has caused the rise and fall of empires. Change has allowed mankind to progress into the future. And change can also be a part of your life. When some people hear the word change, however, the first immediate thought they get is a big fat no. But why? Well, it's because oftentimes the scariest and most difficult things to do come from taking this first step into the unknown. And so to avoid this, people might come up with excuses along the lines of, it's traditional to do things this way, which really means I don't know why we do it, but it works. Another excuse you might have heard of is, it's a far more widespread problem than just here. To which I would say, let's start solving it in our own backyard. An excuse I've personally heard from one of my own employers was, this is not what I'm paying you to do. I politely let them know, however, consider it a freebie to improve everyone's work experience here. Did you notice, however, that there was a pattern of speech when people wanted to avoid change? They came up with excuses that all seemingly have an obvious solution. But with all of these solutions, people still fear change because it's unknown and you don't know how it will end. When you know something with absolute certainty, you are going to be far more comfortable with that. But in order to improve any situation in life, you must first force yourself to become uncomfortable. Because when you let go of what the present has to offer, you open the infinite possibilities to the future. And recently, thankful to my cooperative, as well as my entire NRECA program, I had the possibility to stand in DC, this city built upon the ideas of revolution and transformation. And I began to wonder how scared George Washington was. Just imagine the sheer courage it would have taken George Washington to lead a fledgling nation into this uncharted territory of war. But surely he must have known that just because things had always been this way didn't mean that we, the American people, wanted to remain this way. He knew that in order to create change and possibility, he had to take the first steps as general, where we are now reminded of the legacy he left behind, all because he dared to create a change to this nation. And all of the possibilities that you can imagine can and will happen, but nothing changes if you yourself change nothing. However, if you can muster the courage to try, after taking these first steps into the unknown, there will also come self-doubt. What if I'm wrong? What if it's a mistake? What if I hurt someone? What if this? What if that? Well, then it's simply a mistake. But each doubt that you have is an opportunity to reaffirm yourself to this commitment to change. Because rest assured that when you are looking back on your life, you will be far more disappointed by what you didn't do than the mistakes you made doing what you tried to do. And with change also comes more than just these negative thoughts. There will also come failure. And failure is not a possibility that might happen, rather it will happen. But failure is not the end. Rather, it's the beginning of something far greater. Because we as humans have the capability to learn from our failures and use them as the stepping stones into our success to continue to invoke change in our home, our workplace, in our cooperative, and even in our country, much like Martin Luther King once did. Because just as Washington once led with courage, so too did Martin Luther King Jr., who spoke of his dream that changed the world forever. It wasn't always like this. Martin Luther King had failed miserably during his first boycott, otherwise known as the Montgomery bus boycott. For months, African Americans had suffered heinous amounts of racist remarks, hate crimes, and even worse. And most wanted to quit the boycott and go back to their regular old way of living. However, at every point in history, change has always been the catalyst for progress, from Washington's leadership to King's dream. Because it was through the sheer possibility of this change that Martin Luther King was able to convince his fellow Americans to rise against this oppression and to win, to create a future where all men and women were equal, no matter their identities. And we as Americans are filled with all sorts of identities. And I was reminded of this when I viewed Arlington Cemetery. I was reminded of the metaphor of America being a melting pot of sorts. Well, our little melting pot is also home to the many brave soldiers of this great nation. And it brought me both sadness and pride for those who have the courage to change the world with their own two hands. Because the actions of many soldiers from previous generations created a change to this nation that has now somehow led me to being here. Because change won't happen overnight. Change happens when fear is set aside and you say, it's time to start. All you have to do is start. And I was coincidentally also reminded of this at Arlington Cemetery. While I was there, I met a man named Brandon. Brandon was a businessman, an industrial designer, and an avid online marketing mentor. I had told Brandon that I myself had doubts of starting my own personal name brand, and that I didn't really think I'd achieve it. Little did I know, however, the next few words Brandon would tell me would change my perspective on this forever. He told me, "Why not you?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said it once more clearly. Why not you? Why not you that starts the name brand? Why not you that sees the success? And why not you that does it all? Those three simple words, why not you, made me realize that I was the only one holding myself back and nothing else. But it was all because I was afraid. I was afraid of failure. But most of all, I was afraid of not reaching my goals. Right when I got back home from DC, however, realizing the many great changes the people and figures before me made, I decided to tell myself, why not me? And so I took the first step months ago and can now humbly say I own a slightly successful online name brand. But to those of you who have already taken the first step and continue to look back into the past, I want to tell you a quote I heard from a Spaniard general named Hernan Cortez. Burn the boats. Those words were the words that sparked the age of discovery and adventure in the 16th century. Burn the boats, he ordered his men to not look back across the vast ocean. Burn the boats, he ordered his men to leave all doubt in their minds burned away. Once more he said it, burn the boats, to put all hope into the possibility of change for a brighter future. And so I challenge all of those here today, embrace this fear of change. Take this first step into the unknown and burn the boats that hold you back, because the future belongs to those who dare to create a change. Thank you.